everybody, welcome back to Crowd Built Garage. Thanks for joining me. If you're here, it's probably because you might have liked the last video or you found this on accident. Either way, glad you're here. So the last video I did was a giveaway. It was kind of a rushed thing. I just got back from a trip and had this car in my driveway, and I've been talking to Scott and Heaven, who you'd met previously, and they were really itching to get that car, which is why I didn't have time to fix it up the way I wanted to and make it, I would just say, more presentable. Either way, I kind of had to rush that video out. I guess I could have held on to it, but I just wanted to get it out there because I told a lot of people about what I was getting ready to do, and I just needed to put it into the universe, you know what I mean? So I'm going to take a step back, and what I'm going to do is go through and tell you what this channel is all about. So there's multiple steps to what I want to do. Now the first step, which is what you already saw, was give away a car to somebody that needs one, you know. Now they had a car, it was in disrepair, nothing against them, things just kind of happen. It happens to be a 5.4 Ford Triton, and that's like the worst engine on this planet. So, I mean, you can ask me how I know, but it's actually on the other side of this wall, on the other side of my shop, still torn apart because it's terrible. But we'll get it, we'll figure it out, we'll get it going. So with the giveaway to people in need, basically the way it's going to go is I'm going to basically find a cheap car that's going to be something that's might not be reliable right now, but it will be in the future. I'll bring it to the shop, and I'll go through it. You'll go through it with me. We'll kind of put it up on the scanner and figure out, you know, what codes is it throwing, what do we need to fix, and then what do we want to fix. So as far as, you know, cleaning it up, shampooing carpets, give it a good detail, good bath, oil change, that type of typical stuff. But basically I want to find cars that are, you know, not going to make it very much longer the way that they are, and give it a new life to somebody that could really use it and would really appreciate it. Now, the only thing that I asked from these people, and I asked Scott this off camera through, you know, various text messages and stuff, how we're going to do this, was that I don't want anything from you. I might want you to shoot a short video of me giving you the car, which is what they did, and they agreed to that. The other part to it that you didn't see was that I'm going to ask you to pay it forward. And what that means is basically I'm going to do something nice for you, and I want you to do something nice for 3 people. And it doesn't have to be monetary, it doesn't have to be lots of money, it doesn't have to be any money. It could be as simple as holding a door open for somebody. You know, if you see somebody at the cash register that's fondling for coupons or whatever, I mean, if you got the money, you know, if you can do it, swipe your card for them, man. Who cares? You know, it's just money. They print more every day. Just joking. So, anyway, I want you to pay it forward, which means we're basically going to do, if you've ever seen the movie Pay It Forward, it's a lot of the same kind of idea where, you know, one person helps 3 people. Those 3 people, hopefully the word travels like a telephone game, but better, that they help 3 people, they help 3 people, they help 3 people. Not technically, I guess it'd be like a pyramid scheme, but it's not for money. It's to make this a better place for everybody. And you never know what people are going through. You know, when I met Scott on, actually I found his car on OfferUp. I didn't know who he was to save my life, obviously. And I talked to him a little bit about his truck, and he kind of told me that it was running rough. He didn't know why. It wasn't very mechanical, whatever. So I was like, I'll come check it out. You know, finally I've got time. I got over there and popped the hood, and you know, he told me his story, and I got to know the guy, and he's a really good dude. Like, his backstory is like, I mean, I felt it, you know. And so I felt guilty about even taking the truck for what he offered it to me for, you know. So I sat there with him, and I kind of went through the truck with him. I said, look, these are the simple parts that you need to get this thing back up and running, and you have your truck. Like, I don't want to take the only car you guys have. And so I had left. We talked a little bit more, and he decided that it was too much for him to bite off, which I get it. You know, it's, if you don't have the tools to do it, that's one thing, you know. I mean, I wish I could have been there to just help the guy out in his driveway, but I just, my schedule and his schedule, like I said, we just didn't match. So I ended up going over there, throwing it up on a flatbed, dragging it home. And, you know, the couple things that I said that it needed to run right, I did it before I took it off the trailer, but it needed more. If you've ever worked on a 5.4 Triton, you know those spark plugs are the bane of anybody's existence ever. It's terrible. The shop that he took it to put the wrong spark plugs in, so as of right now I have the wrong spark plug busted off in the number 7 cylinder. But we'll figure it out. And I don't have a problem that I brought this thing home and now it's a problem for me. This is the type of things that people like me, so just a short background on me. I have ADHD and my mind goes a mile a minute. You know, I don't know if you have it or if you know anybody that's got it, but, and I know some people might say it's made up, but when you hear like 40 different things going off in your head and you're trying to focus on one, it makes it real difficult. So when I'm working on this truck, I'm like, man, let's make this thing reliable. Let's take this motor out, let's LS it and do all yada. I mean, I'm going every different avenue I can to get this stupid Triton motor out of it. In the end, it's probably going to keep the Triton motor, and I'll make it more reliable than it was, and we're going to send her down the road. The reason I bought this truck, and the only reason I bought this truck, was because Scott gave me such a good deal that there was a lot of meat left on the bone, that I know that if I spent my time and fixed it, the money that I spent I could put back in the account, and the extra money could go towards the next vehicle. And that's the entire reason I did it. So that being said, the next vehicle that I have lined up is a 95 Suzuki Sidekick. It's a little 4-door, 4-wheel drive. And I was actually given that vehicle, probably say 6-7 years ago, probably closer to 6. And it was one of those things, you know, you're thumbing through Facebook Marketplace and there's a free vehicle and you're like, well, what's the catch, you know? And just like Scott thought there was a catch with what I gave him, there was no catch. I called the lady up and I talked to her, and she said, you know, she gave me a backstory on it, and I'll dive more into that with the car. But basically, what happened is the engine ran without oil, and she's locked up tight. Like I tried to spin it over by hand after throwing a little bit of oil in it and a little bit of, you know, knock her loose in it, and there was just no budge. So that motor's getting harder and harder to find, and so right now it's been sitting out in the field. But I found one. I found 3 motors, and so I'm gonna try to get one of those. It's got a little crunch in the fender and whatever, but first step is once I get that Ford out of here, that truck's coming home. We're gonna yard the motor out of it, and we're gonna decide with you guys what we want to do. Do we want to make it into a giveaway to a family in need? Do we want to build it into something crazy? Do we want to put the original motor back in it? Do we want to throw something bigger in it, make it something completely obscene? We could airbag it. I really don't care. It's just, this is the fun stuff for me, is trying to figure it out. You know, there might not be anything online that you could find that someone's done this, but that's the great part about ADHD, is that I can figure it out. Just give me a little bit of time. I'll find 100 different ways to do it, and I'd say about 103 of them are probably the wrong, but we'll get her done. Anyway, back to what I was saying. So that's really all it is for the giveaway to Cars in Need, is to find somebody that needs it and ask them to pay it forward, you know, and try to keep that train rolling. And hopefully, no matter how small this, if it goes just deaf ears, it is what it is. I help that person, the world's already a little bit better place. If they help the 3 people like I asked them to, I'm not going to check on them. You know, I mean, if they want to tell me their story, if they want to do a follow-up, great, I'm all for it. Like, I want to hear it, and I want to hear exactly what was said, but it's not necessary. You know, I have faith that there are good people out here. You know, I'm not. So anyway, that's the giveaway of the cars, like we did with Scott in Heaven. The crowd built part. So how it has to start out right now, because I have to fund this completely, and hopefully one day this will get big enough that, you know, the views from the videos and whatnot will monetize it to where I can use that money to pay for everything. But I know that's a long ways down the road. I'm not crazy to think that's going to happen next week. So that's why the Ford's here. you know, I'm gonna do little stuff like that on the side. I might video it, I might not. That's just kind of where the money's gonna come from for the time being. I'm not gonna break my account to do this, but if I have to throw a little bit into my own, I will. Basically, the way this has to start is I'm gonna find a few cars locally. And now, I live in the Pacific Northwest, so you know, Washington, Oregon, that area. If I can find some cars around this area, I'll go get them. I'll bring them home, and that's kind of be where the giveaways are going to have to start, because trying to get things into other states and you know, huge distances away, I have to take time off work. I got to arrange trailers. I got to arrange hotels. There's all sorts of stuff that has to happen. So we're going to start small, and we're going to hopefully together we're going to grow this brand up. So, like I said, I'm going to find some cars locally. I'm going to give you guys the choice of which one do you guys want to see. You know, do you want to see a clapped out Tahoe become a convertible? You know, who knows? Do you want to see? There's a guy up the road that he's got a bunch of Hummers. Do you want to do something with an old military Hummer? You know, it kind of depends on where we want to go together. And off the top 3 that have been of like the comments that have been liked, I'm going to take those 3 and I'm going to put those over into a poll. And then from there, it's going to narrow that down to 1, and that's the direction we're going to go. Now, if someone wants to throw out some other ideas of things that we can do, you know, if they have an idea in their head that they want to see come into fruition, that's fine. Like I said, I plan to have a whiteboard about the size of this flag on the back wall, and maybe not even a whiteboard. It might just be a regular board written in Sharpie, so I can't just be like, no, we're not doing that. I want to see everybody's ideas. I know I have a lot of them. I have a lot of crazy ones. I got a lot of fun ones. I got some that's just kind of practical, you know, but I like the crazier side of it. I've always had weird cars and kind of one-off situations, but I digress. So anyway, I find some cars to start. You guys help me out with which one you want. We put it into a poll. From there, we'll get it here. We'll go through the vehicle together, and then we're gonna figure out what we want to do with it. In the same situation, it's gonna be the top 3 liked comments, goes to a poll. That's where we go. That's how I say this can get real crazy real fast, and it could be completely a setup from you guys, which is fine. I don't really care, because I kind of want to see what happens with them in the end too, you know. And as the building is going, as long as it's streetable and, you know, semi-legal, I want to take it to our local Cars and Coffees and kind of see what everybody else thinks about it. And I got another flag about this size. It was a little smaller than that one. That I'm gonna take the car to the Cars and Coffee. I'm gonna put that GoPro there in the dash. I'm gonna record everybody walking up to this car. I'll have my banner across the hood with some little swag stuff, whatever, stickers and little flyers of what I'm doing, and kind of see what people think about it, you know, and see if they're laughing at it, see if they're really looking at it like, man, that's crazy. Who knows? And then when it's all said and done, when the car's done, we're gonna figure out if we can either do a giveaway, which that's a whole nother process, but we'll figure it out, or which is probably gonna have to be the beginning of it, is we're probably gonna have to flip it into something else. So build out a car, flip it, you know, sell it, trade it, whatever it is, and, you know, give the links to the videos on YouTube of how we did all this stuff. You know, hopefully that can help grow this brand up a little bit, and eventually we'll get into the merch giveaway side of it, like you see everybody else doing. There's a lot of rules and laws you got to follow per state, and so I got to get in touch with the lawyer about all of that stuff, and that's going to take some time, but we'll get there. And you know, like everybody else you see out there, they're doing $5 for, sorry, there's a bug. They're doing $5 is one entry. I want to see an absurd amount of entries, you know, where it's like maybe not $5, maybe every $2. So we'll figure that out as we go. But that's what I want to see happen with it. I want to see these cars go somewhere. But there is some crazy stuff that I am willing to do. Like if we could have taken that van and made it a convertible on airbags, I'd have done it. I got a hot knife, we're good with it, you know. So I want to make it to where everybody can play along, you know. And there's obviously going to be because by law there has to be the no purchase necessary option, and that I've never actually read through it. There's so much fine print in there that after about line 2 my ADHD kicks in and I squirrel and I'm over there. Like, I couldn't afford to care. So I want to make it obtainable for everybody, and I want to see these cars kind of live on. Even if it's just, we just clean them up, leave the patina on them, slap a little bit of shine on them, and send them out for something else. You know, so if somebody else wants to go farther with it, great. If it's something like, yeah, you know, this is a great body, and you guys want to chop the top on it, there might be some times when I kind of gotta throw the woe card in there and be like, hey, like maybe we find one that's not as nice, fairly shitty, and we cut that one up, but we'll leave the survivors alone. You know, I don't want to take good cars out of circulation. When we start cutting into classics, that's where we're going to have a bigger discussion on, do we really want to do this? Do we want to just send this one down the road? Do we want to get another body and do that with that body? Because I don't want to see these cars get destroyed. I don't like watching videos where cars are getting just demolished, because people are liking to watch these cars get demolished. Like, that's not something that I've ever been into. But you know, in the end, all these cars have a story. You know, there's actually, where this camera's sitting is on the hood of a car that's got a really good story, and it's a really close story to me. And I'll show it to you guys here in a little bit. But I want everybody to come out of this with a good experience. And you know, some of you guys might win cars. As this thing goes on, you see some of these guys giving away $100,000 cars. You know, I don't know that I'll ever get there. I mean, I would like to, but you know, that's not really up to me. I'm going to try to put out videos as often as I can. Like I said in the post that I think I posted yesterday, I've been sick for the last week, and my voice still isn't back all the way. But you know, I got to put something out there for you guys, and I really want you guys to know the bullet points of what I want to do. We'll just kind of have to play that out by ear, because another big part of this is editing these videos, because half of what I say you're not seeing. Sometimes you see it in the bloopers, but whatever, you know. And that's really funny, because the bloopers got a lot more reaction than the actual video. But I get it. That's the type of stuff I like too, you know. Regardless, I just want you guys to know that, you know, I'm human too. You know, I make mistakes. I do things that are kind of off-brand. But, you know, we're all in this together. And I hope that we can make this an enjoyable experience for everybody. And I'm just really excited to like get this going forward. Like I said, my shop is a disaster. I mean, it looks like the Tasmanian devil went through after a hurricane, and it's insane. It's kind of became a catch-all. I've got, you know, travel trailers outside, which always lives inside, and I hate that. But the side of the shop I'm in right now is a little too small for what I want to do. Most of the stuff's going to be, you know, shade tree style on the floor with a jack. You know, I don't have a lift, not yet. One day, you know. The other side of the shop, it can support a lift or two, but the side I'm in right now has a little bit lower ceiling, where a lift's just not feasible in here. It wouldn't make any sense. I'm 6'6", so with I guess that would be a 12-foot tall ceiling. I mean, you're talking being hunched over the whole time. Yeah, I'd rather lay on my back. If I have to bench press a transmission out of a car, it is what it is. But one day I'd like to put a lift in the other side and make this a little bit easier. But right now it's going to be more like, hey, if you got a garage, if you got a carport, if you got something, I mean, you could do it out in your driveway, it really doesn't matter, but you can do the same thing I'm doing. I just happen to have a covered area that I can do this in, where I can do this day or night. And that was actually the reason I bought this house, was this shop. I didn't know this is what I was going to do with it. I have had probably 45 different business plans lined up to do out of my shop. But this one is something that I don't know if you're like me, but I have a bad habit of buying lots of cars and keep them for a little bit, get real tired of them. So this is one of those things that will kind of feed that, you know, scratch that itch and help out with you know, not having the wife so mad at me about it. But you know, I get where she's coming from too. I'm sure you guys are all in the same boat. You know, what do you need another project for? I got 4 cars here that are in different different stages of repair or need different things. You know, and I'm only just one guy, and I got to do this all by myself. I do, however, have some pretty stand-up guys that are willing to help me out through this process. And so if I ever do need a lift, I got a guy that lives, you know, not too far away, and he's got a full shop lift, and he's a great mechanic. He's actually one of the guys that I called when I lost my shit and couldn't figure it out. And we figured it out, and you know, in the end, the vehicle wasn't something that I wanted to keep, but you know, this guy went out of his way, helped me out. He's a real stellar guy, and you guys will meet him later on. His name's Terry. Not the put it in reverse Terry guy, but he's another Terry. He's a great dude. He's retired, so he's going to be helping me a lot. And then another guy is it's my buddy Mike, and we work together. We both work in a auto shop. I don't think I can say where, but we both work in an auto shop together, and you know, lots of simple maintenance work. And lately I've been doing a lot of custom fab work and stuff, building custom headache racks for stuff, and different boxes for sides of different trucks, and just, I mean, you name it. If you could put it together with 2 pieces of metal and a little torch, like, that's what I'm doing. So, you know, as time goes, you know, we're building bumpers and, you know, building our own. If we decide we want to airbag something, you know, we'll build our own notches, and we'll get them all welded in, and we're gonna try to do all this stuff ourselves. So, like right now, I just got one welder, but eventually, like I said, the money's going towards the channel. It's gonna buy the welders. It's gonna buy the trailers that I need to get these things, you know, to drop them off different places, to give them to different people or whatever. That's where the money's gonna go. Plus the cars, obviously the cars. That's gonna be the biggest expenditure. But yeah, we're just gonna do things how we all want to see them collectively, you know, and it's gonna be, you know, majority rules. And I can't wait to really get started on some of these builds, tearing these things apart, figuring out what makes them tick, literally, because I'm sure the motors are ticking. You know, these things are going to be probably clapped out pieces of junk, but we'll bring them back, and one way or another, we'll figure it out. If I got to buy a second one to make one good one, we'll do it. You know, that's just probably what's happening with that stupid Ford over there. But we'll see how it goes. You know, with ADHD, you kind of end up the jack of all trades, master of none. And like, I've had a lot of jobs, and I've left all those jobs besides this. This is the first place I actually felt like people listen to what I have to say, and I actually really enjoy what I'm doing. Like, working on cars is my forte, you know. Getting to be able to just kind of figure something out in your mind for like these headache racks and have to hold different aero boards or whatever else. You're like, okay, yeah, let's figure out how this is going to work, how it's going to be stable, how it's not going to destroy the truck, flush mount as much as you can, yada yada yada. I just finished one last week, and hopefully I'll be able to get a picture of that when they're going to put the board on it, but I've got the headache rack all on there. It's got a lot of good reviews from the guys I work with, so we'll see how she goes. But you know, like I said, I've had a lot of jobs. You know, I started out as a landscaper just out of high school, like the day after I graduated, because I didn't know what I wanted to do when I grew up. Still don't. Did that. Supposed to be a summer job. Stayed for 3 years. Probably one of the best mistakes I ever made. Met a lot of really cool people. Worked with a lot of cool people. Did a lot of things I never thought that I would have done. And you know, came out of it with a lot of things I could bring into the real world for my own properties and whatever. But then I left there, and I was a garbage man for 8 years, and you know, driving trucks, learning routes, and you know, it was fun. It was taxing. It took a lot of toll on your body, but it was a good job, you know, and nothing to be ashamed of. And then I left there, and I went to the railroad and was a conductor for like 3 years, and then did my engineer cert. So I was, you know, became a locomotive engineer. I got forced from my home up north to Seattle. I had to be there for a few months, and you know, in the end, I couldn't I couldn't make it make sense to continue doing that line of work. And I miss my kids, I miss my wife, I don't have any dogs anymore, but I miss everything. I miss going to family functions, and they drive me crazy sometimes. But I missed it, and so I quit and I went to work for a municipality, and something I'd never done before, and did that for about a year and a half, and then I got a better offer from another municipality closer to home, and so I took it, and doing the same job. So I took it, and since then we lost a guy. He passed away in a car accident, and he was working out in the shop with Mike, and really good guy. He was kind of unorthodox, but really good guy. He was probably one of the only guys I've ever actually gave a nickname to in my life, besides my kids, obviously. But he passed away about a year ago. It'll be a year ago next month. And his job came open, and everybody asked me if I was going to go for it, because I was already kind of always talking with the shop, trying to get people's trucks situated. And the guy that I work with, which you'll meet him eventually, me and him work really well together. So it was a good fit. I don't really care for the way that it happened. Obviously I'd rather Chris was still here, but he's not, and it's unfortunate, but the only thing owed in life is a death. It just happened to be pretty early in his life. He was late 20s, and I hated to see him go. It wasn't too far from my house where he got in his accident, so I pass it every day. I think about him a lot. He's a good guy, but we still make jokes when things go wrong. We blame Chris, but it's not true. It's more for fun, and trying to keep his spirit alive. So anyway, enough with the sad stuff. So I've been doing this job where I'm at right now for just about a year. I was about 2 years in the other department, and just needed a change. Needed something that challenged me, and so I thought, I'm already doing all this stuff day in, day out. Let's do some good with it, And part of the reasoning that I thought about it, and I don't think I've ever actually told anybody, was Chris. Before he passed, he had a car, and he knew some people that were kind of in need. He had a couple cars, but the daily driver car he had, he just threw him the keys, said, "Here, drive this for a while." And he got a car, and he was basically rebuilding it for them, and they had no idea. And he was trying to get them a reliable vehicle. It was kind of a win-win. He helped them out. They got what they needed, and he got his car back. So thinking about Chris through this too is pretty big, because I'd say he's probably a good 33.8259%, of why this thought came to my mind. And so through this, I do want to keep Chris's memory alive. I know none of you guys probably knew who he was, and that makes me sad, because you don't meet a lot of people like him. So, and just for the record, I gave him the nickname Dirt Squirrel because he always had this patchy thing going on, and he always looked dirty. He wasn't, but it was just the way his facial hair came in. Dude always looked dirty, and sometimes he was dirty when he was crawling around underneath the big trucks and whatnot. But that's neither here nor there. It was just more of a friendly nickname. And at his funeral, actually, I found out that he loved that nickname. He was telling all his friends that he was the Dirt Squirrel, And I was in the process of getting stickers made, and I was going to just cover his car with them, just because, And but we're going to move on from the sad parts, and Anyway, long story long again. That's what I want to do with this channel, and I really hope you guys stick it out and tell your friends, and we'll try to get this thing going into something real big. Hit or miss. I still feel really good about it. I know some of you guys like watching it. I mean, I could tell that how many people watch the bloopers over the regular video. You guys kind of like it. You're gonna see my personality come out more and more. This is awkward for me. As you could tell in the last video, I don't know how to talk to a camera like it's a person. But you're gonna find more and more of my personality comes out, especially when there's other people around. It's gonna be a lot less awkward, especially when it's a friend that I know, or I want to get my brother involved on this if I can. I know if I need something, he'll show up, and so he'll probably help a lot with pulling motors or whatever it may be. But we'll see how that goes as we get there. But yeah, you're gonna see a lot of cool cars on this channel. I'll take you through a quick rundown of what I got that are my personal cars that won't go anywhere. But as far as the cars for the channel, they're all going to be kind of everywhere on the map. Who knows what we're going to come up with. The first few, hopefully it's just the first few, not the first few hundred, are going to have to be fairly budget friendly, because these will be on a budget, and then later on the budget's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and things are going to get wild. Hopefully. I can't read the future, but hopefully we get pretty wild with this. Anyway, the vehicles I do have right now, and like I said, my shop is a disaster, so keep that in mind. I was gonna clean up stuff, but I've been sick, and how the man flu goes. You don't want to do anything. So first vehicle I got, I'll probably try to go. Well, I'm gonna just go with the three that I drive. The Ford, you'll see it in the background. It doesn't matter. But the three that I drive, they're all for different reasons, So you see my Dodge in the background of the last video. That's a 2016 3/4 ton diesel, coil sprung suspension all the way around, which I was scared about, but because I have that big trailer you see on the side of the shop. But man, I tell you what, that thing doesn't sag at all, and it's up on 37s. It's a big truck, tuned, and with a tune, I think anybody that knows diesels knows what comes with that, so I'm not going to mention any of that. But the only reason I have that, I had a Duramax, and the kids were like, the back seat's too small, and they were right. So I got something with a little bit bigger back seat, because my kids they're my kids. I mean, they're not going to be small kids, so I got a bigger back seat for them, and I realized I wasn't using the long bed very much, so went with a short box, and then we got 2 dogs, so now I need a damn long box. But that's neither here nor there. That's my Dodge. You probably saw my Corvette in the background. That's my dream car, and ever since I can remember, I've always wanted a Corvette. I used to call them Quartervettes, if I remember right. And a babysitter at the time kept correcting me. But as they kind of went on in age, I'm an 80s kid. I was born in 85, so I'm 40 years old. And I remember, the C4 Corvette. I love that car. I love that the fenders come up, the flip-up headlights, the target tops. I've never been a convertible fan, but to each their own. So I remember when I was a kid, I just always wanted a Corvette, and when the C5s came out, and I was like, that's the one. And I thought, as I got older, it was going to be every time that they come out, it was going to be like, nope, that's the one, nope, that's the one. They get better and better as they go, and they do. But style-wise, I got hung up on the C5. Last year, the flip-up headlights. Yeah, it's got an LS1 in it, but because it's a 2000, so when you got newer ones, have a little bit bigger motors in them, better motors. But I like my little LS1. I mean, she's peppy. It's got some upgrades to it. Wanted white. apparently that's a hard one to find. So I got the alter ego and got black on black. But yeah, it's always been my dream car. And now that I got it, it's like, what's the next one? But and actually, to be honest with all of you, I actually put that car up. The wife and I were having a discussion about where the money was going to come from, because she didn't want to spend the money from our account on this. So I had a Cherokee, or sorry, a Jeep Wrangler, and I sold that. And so I said I'll use the money from that, and then but give me a year, and then if I don't put the money back in the account, I'll sell my Corvette. So I'm asking you guys, please don't let that happen. Hopefully I can just get it done with this Ford once I sail it down the river, but right now that Corvette is kind of our lifeblood here. So other than that, right now I'm sitting in front of a 68 C10. The little short story behind that, it was my wife's grandpa's truck, and you know, it was all stock height. It was a grandpa truck. Any kind of little bolt on a fella could put on there, he did. And so after he passed away, it kind of sat for a few years, and I asked her, I was like, hey, what are you gonna do with that? You know, like I hate to see it just sit there and rot, you know. And so she put it in my care. She gave it to me, and I told her I was gonna do right by it. So trying to keep as much the way he had it. I had to take off a lot of the extra wiring stuff because it was a lot of, I mean, it was like a messed up game of Guess Who, trying to figure out what wire went where. He made his own wire loom, but it was like, what you got, you know? Like, you got a blue wire going to a black wire going to a yellow wire, which else is also tied into this white wire over here. And you're like, I don't know how to follow all this. So it was kind of a lot of pick one piece, take it out, and I got a box sitting next to me that's got all that stuff in it, because you know, there's a lot of sentimental value in this truck, not just for me, but you know, for his son and daughter, my father-in-law and my wife's aunt. Sorry about that. I'm sure the frame changed, but we're gonna keep going. So the truck has a lot of sentimental value to the family. He had picked a color that he really liked, so I had to keep about 90% of the truck that color. There was some spots of cancer coming up, so I've addressed those, and temporarily I'll end up doing the rockers and the top of the cab white, you know, kind of how it goes with that year. But you know, eventually I like to get this thing up and tear it completely down, throw it on a rotisserie, fix everything on it, and make it into a brand new truck. He had swapped the motor into a police car, Pontiac 400. It's got some get up and go, but it's not, needs some tuning work done on it, and we'll get her done. But just kind of a good little cruiser, you know, really straight, but it's one of those things that I can't get rid of, you know. So I gotta keep it. It stays in the family, and just, you know, car shows and stuff like that. No cruise ins, and so I went to a Cars and Coffee and was talking to a C10 club, and you know, they heard from my brother that I had a C10, and you know, they wanted me to join. So that day I came home and I pulled that thing into the shop, and I ordered lowering springs and all this new stuff for the fuel tank, and new seat, just all sorts of new stuff, just to make it into something that was more for me, but still have his styling to it. So anyway, I'll take you for a quick walk and just kind of show you. Mind the mess. It's not forever, you know. We'll get her dialed, but now that you've heard the plan and you've seen some of the cars that I got and kind of know where we want to head with this channel and how you guys play into it and what happens with them in the end, I hope you guys are still with me. I hope you tell your friends. I want to turn this into something big if we can, but in the end, this is still fun for me. You know, I don't think this will ever be a full-time job for me. It would be nice because it's what I like to do, but I still like my job, so, and that's pretty rare, you know. But I think this is a good way to kind of make this world a little bit better with the giveaways, getting people involved with what, you know, my vision and what I want to do. And I appreciate each and every one of you. So I hope you guys stay tuned. I hope you guys like and subscribe. You know, there's no obligation to it, so you know, we're not hurting anybody. It just helps out, get this out there, gets it known, and you know, the more people we get, the crazier stuff's gonna get. So yeah, let's do this together. Let's get it done. So, again, appreciate you guys. Have a good night.